Okay, I think we're good to go, I think. Alright, so I have 2 of these videos. Well, this will be one of them. The other one I have recorded, I just haven't edited yet, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it just yet. First, I wanted to thank a viewer of the program. Send in a few goodies. Second time this has happened. Like I said, I've got the video for the other one. I just haven't had a chance to edit it yet. And I wanted to get this one out today. So, yeah, I'll put the other one up sometime this weekend, probably. Next couple of days, for sure. So, viewer sent in some lenses. And, let's see, I'm gonna get all 4 of them here. And it got my brain turning a little bit. As you can see, these are pretty atypical looking lenses, except for this one. This is a Super Takumar 55 f2. One of my favorite lenses. This one's a little grody. I have to clean it, but they're pretty easy to get into. But the M42 mount lens systems are just criminally underrated. Now it's an f2, which is, it's not the f1.8, but like potato. It's a really good sharp lens. There's a little bit of discoloration. If you can tell, like there's some yellowing of the elements, so I'm gonna have to let that sit outside, get some UV light in there and clean it up a little bit. But really great lens. I believe there's a bit of a dent here, so you can't really put filters on, but like it's okay. Other than that, really solid construction. So very happy about this. Thank you very much. Thank you to the customer also for sending this stuff in. This was awesome. Very appreciate it. I very much appreciate it, and I don't want to let that slip by the wayside. But let's talk about these 3 here. So first of all, lens cover, always nice. Always like having these on hand. I have a few of them, and I never really know what to do with them, but they're always kind of cool. Just imagine one day having like nice leather cases for my cameras, for like the 2 cameras that I'm gonna own, and then like some like bags for the lenses. It's a good thing to think about. So just look at these cameras, or the lenses, as they are, because I don't really talk about lenses on this channel all that much. Hear me out. For film photography, the lens is more important than the camera, okay? I know it's a bit of a controversial take. We're living in the modern world of hypeism over certain camera bodies. Like, oh, you've got a Leica, like that's really good. Oh, you've got a AE1, that's garbage. Or you got a K1000, that's a... Literally, it was the other day. I was out somewhere. I had my K1000. And the guy was like, oh, you've got a student camera? And I don't think he was like trying to like dunk on me, like, oh, idiot. But I was like, it's not really that though. Like, I mean, I guess it kind of is, but I don't know, I just never really pictured it as that. It was just kind of funny. But anyway, just like the camera body itself doesn't matter as much as the film that you shoot and the lens that you shoot it through. Like the camera body performs relatively the same function. It's just a matter of like what body you shooting with it enjoys. Like if you like using an FM, by all means. If you like using Minolta, you know, an XG1, a SRT 101, by all means. Like you can take really good photos with all of them. Functionally, there's a lot of similarities. Now, when you're getting into like the different auto settings, the different shutter speeds, where you're a little bit limited with like an A1 that can only go to 1/1000th. So outside of those like obvious parameters, they're basically, it's the same function. It's just a matter of like how you like it. However, the lens quality itself, that matters a lot, because this is what you're actually taking the photo with, as well as the film. The film serves as like the sensor in modern day DSLR, mirrorless, cine cameras, all that stuff. It's the sensor that really matters. The camera body matters in the sense of like, can you make function with the tools that you're given? But the sensor is really the bread and butter of like, is it a good high quality sensor? Is the film high quality? What kind of film stock are we shooting with? the lens. What kind of look are we going to get through the lens? So that brings us to the lenses. I don't talk about them because I don't really work on them, but they are very, very important. And yesterday I posted the video talking to my old coworker Cole, he repairs lenses, and so it's kind of serendipitous that this all happens at once. But I do want to talk about things like these. Lenses like these, okay, compared to something like, I have one here, something like this, okay, a kit lens, or even, you know, something like this, like the kit lenses, the standard, the 50 f2, the 51.7, 51.8 if it's a FD, you know, like basic lenses that you associate with the camera. And that's kind of what I associate with them too, because again, going back to my previous experience, these were valued a lot more than something like this. Now, I find that interesting because something like this has a lot more utility to it in the means that you have multiple focal lengths. You got an 80, 100, 135, and a 200. Now, I believe that this has no, it's a fixed 4.5 aperture. Okay, never mind. Anyway, now there's something to be said about the third-party lenses. The quality of glass is a little bit lacking, especially with the zoom lenses. They just don't hold up as well as like a standard prime would. You get sharper image quality and stuff, but point being, something like this is going to cost you a whole lot less than something like this, and you can do a whole lot more with something like this. However, this is not as marketable as this is, because this says Pentax on it, and this is a known quality. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody that knows that Gemini is a lens company. Okay, like you're gonna say Gemini and someone's like, was that your astrological sign? Is that an astrology thing? Gemini? Can you be a Gemini? Is that a I really don't know. Like, I genuinely have no idea. Astrology's not a thing I really ascribe to. Anyway, so going back to these and to the issue at hand, where do these fit in? Because I have multiple of these. I know a lot of people have stuff like this. Now, personally for me, I don't really use large lenses like this too much because I just, the way I take photos, I like to have something in my pocket or like in my bag or something like that, something small and compact. I like the 40mm pancake lens. So something like this doesn't really work as well. But there's still a good need for it. You want to take like some nature photos. If you want to take some really sharp portraits and do that, pop that over to the 85 here. It's a really good portrait photo length and stuff. Built-in sunshade here. So I guess the point is I'm trying to show you, the viewer, that you can still take really high quality photos with these off-brand kind of unsuspecting lenses. And you're gonna save a lot of money. That's really why I think people should buy third-party lenses in general. Like, I've got a Pentax mount, PK mount, 28mm lens. I think it's a Soligor lens that I got for 20 bucks. Just because I was like, oh, I really want to get a wider lens for my K1000 at the time for the ME Super. I got that. It was $20, and it's perfect. Like, it's perfect for me. I love it so much. There is maybe a step down in quality from the legitimate Pentax lens to this third-party lens. Like, there's probably a different emulsion or something like that on the elements, but like, I would pay somebody a lot of money if they could really sit down, look through the two negatives, pick out the differences, and explain to me which one was which and why they know. Like, I would really be interested to hear that argument, because I don't think there's like a whole huge difference in quality. There obviously is. There's some difference, but the main difference is in the cost. I'm telling you, something like this, you might not want a zoom lens like this, which is totally fine, but you can still find third-party lenses for the primes that you're looking for. If you just want to explore a new focal length. I heavily recommend doing that. Even picking up something like this just to have in your back pocket. I mean, obviously not, because I don't think this would fit in anyone's back pocket. Picked up a screw. It's exciting. But yeah, just to have something like this, you can explore so many different creative options here. Like, have you ever shot 205? So something like this, you can just mess around with it, and you don't have to break the bank to get into it. And that's kind of what I hope that this channel can become, is showing you, the viewer, and anyone else who's interested, that like there are ways to create really cool art and experiences and not having to spend a small fortune on. And going back to something like this, like, I dig the styling of this a whole bunch. This is even better lens, to be honest. 70 to 210. Like, the versatility of this lens alone is pretty insane. And it's one of those like nice slide ones too. There is a little bit of breathing here in the zoom, but since it's a still lens, it doesn't really matter as much. But yeah, 70 to 210, like the amount of things you can do with that. And the macro, there is so much you can do with this that you can't do with a prime. And again, this is a little bit heavier, it's a little bulkier. It's not going to be as easy to just carry around with you, and you do have to swap them out if you wanted to shoot with the prime, whatever. Like, that's the reality of having different lenses. But if you are looking for a new lens, if you are like contemplating like, oh, what lens should I get? First of all, depends on what you're looking for. But if you really don't know, if you don't have any preference with focal lengths, I recommend picking up a zoom lens like this. Just a third-party zoom lens on eBay for like, they're like probably 10 bucks. You can find them at Goodwill too, because I think the guy who sent these in bought them in Goodwill, and he's like, I can't really do anything with them. And so I'm trying to make a pitch here. I'm trying to sell you on the idea of this, because it's a lot of fun to have. I took some of my favorite photos a couple years ago. A buddy of mine had this job set up in Montana. So we drove up there. It was a pretty grueling drive, but we're up there, we're on this ranch in Montana. It was kind of like a cowboy kind of deal. So we're shooting him, and his buddies are trying to like track down these cows, right? And they needed to give the cows some medicine or whatever. And I just so happened to have my K1000 and the zoom lens I had at the time, which I still have because it's my dad's old lens. But it's like I think it's like a 70 to 210 or like an 85 to 135 or something like that. Like, it's a decent lens. And I had like some expired Portra in, and I was able to get some really sharp images, and I was able to really get in tight and have like a really nice depth of field. Because that's the other thing too, like the more you increase your focal length, the shallower your depth of field is. So you can get some really sharp, crisp photos, which is why for portraits and stuff, people recommend shooting like an 85 or a 70 or something like that to really get that nice compression in there. And it really benefits facial features because there's not as much distortion around the face and all this stuff. So anyway, all I am saying to anybody who's watching, if you're thinking, I want to get a lens, I don't know what to get, I always recommend shopping third party, because especially if you don't really know, just go for something like a little bit more inexpensive. That way, if you get something like this and you're like, man, I really like 80, or I really like 100, right? I really like these focal lengths, but I don't like this lens. You can then sell this lens for pretty much what you got it for, maybe make a little bit money off of it, whatever. You can pretty much sell this lens or hold on to it, and then you can get that prime 80 lens, or you can get that prime 85 lens, because I think Pentax only has an 85 lens or something like that. But anyway, you can get that prime lens, you can spend that more money, but you could also get this and realize, I actually don't like this. I only like wider focal lengths or something like that. And then you can spend your money that way. But this is just nice for exploring different options. And I think that's something that right now, the current economy of film photography is lacking, is a lot of options, because it feels like if you want to shoot a different stock of film, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you want to get a different camera body, it's going to cost you a lot of money. the only thing we got left really is lenses, and these are a finite resource. I just hope that this does not fall on deaf ears. I hope that this helps you. I've been meaning to do more of the consumer corner videos. I've not had a chance to write one up because those are stuff that I do like to have written up beforehand, but I'm hoping to get one written this weekend or something and then work on that next week. But for now, my consumer advice would be to get a cheap lens. Buy a cheap lens. Like, it's not gonna hurt you too much, 10-20 bucks or something like that on a decent lens. Make sure that there's like no fungus in the elements. That's not good. But if you can get one with like clean elements, not spend too much money on it, just mess around with it, see what you think, see if you like it. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. Sell it again or hold on to it, whatever. Give it to somebody if you feel so inclined. But just explore, experience that. I couldn't recommend that enough because it really helps you experience film photography in a different way. And I think the more that you try new things, the more well-rounded you are as a person, because it helps you formulate your opinions more based upon actual experiences rather than just, well, I don't think I would like that. So that is all. That is my rambly rant today on why I think you should buy off-brand lenses. But thank you for sending these in, donating them. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more of this kind of content. Comment below if you enjoyed it, or if you have any lenses, or if you want to go get a lens. If you do get a lens based off this video, let me know what you end up with and your experiences with it. Very curious to hear how that goes. But I appreciate you watching, and catch you on the next one.